Mornings have the ability to make or break an entire day, let alone an entire week. How we start off the morning really sets the tone for our day. And I know that this is a time where it's either such a grind to get up, like absolutely the worst thing ever, or it's something that kind of naturally inspires the person and they're naturally morning people. Well, I know that having a morning routine is really important, right? As many of us do. We have this knowledge that's like, yeah, everyone tells us that it's really important. And I have the proof in my own life that when I have the right morning routine in place, I am flourishing. I'm more myself. I'm more alive. I'm more able to show up to my responsibilities fully. So I know that it's a really good thing. And yet, there are times when it is far easier to put snooze on or to lay back down or to disrupt my evening routine so that I need more sleep in the morning. And so I know I'm not coming from this from a person who has always been a morning person, who's always had an incredible morning routine, but from someone who's in it, who is desperate for a little bit more margin in their life and has decided to put my money where my mouth is and to start doing this in a way that is responsible for my body and taking care of it while also knowing that it's going to bring amazing dividends. It's going to bring me so much goodness on the other side. I used to think that when I was little and growing up, that I was a natural morning person. I loved getting up and doing the things in the quiet of the morning. You know what I'm talking about? If you've ever gotten up before anyone else and it's quiet and it's kind of dark and you're just kind of alone in the world, and it's like the most glorious feeling. You feel like you could accomplish anything. Well, I felt like I was really a morning person for a long time until I got really sick. I got really sick and it kind of took over my entire life as it does. And I have been dealing with chronic illnesses for the last 6 plus 7 years now. And it is just the fact of certain circumstances that you can't control everything. And so sometimes I need more rest, or that rest really comes in the morning hours and not at night, and it's a fight the whole time. And so knowing that and knowing my kind of unique set of circumstances, I've used it a little bit too much as a crutch in terms of, oh, I'm just going to become a night owl because that's what my body tends to do nowadays. And it works sort of, but it only works if you have total control over your time and your life, which I don't know anyone who really does have total control. Because even if you have quote unquote control of your time and your schedule, you also have responsibilities you have to fill. And if you're starting your day off not even less than ideal, but in a way that honestly continues to drain you instead of fill you, it's not going to help you get to where you need to go. And that is me talking to myself for sure. That is me calling myself out right there. So I came to this conclusion and I was like, yes, I can be a slave to my circumstances. Yes, I can recognize that where I'm at, these tend to be the ways that my body likes to function. However, I have spent an entire year, all of 2025, focused on the word consistency. Because in my life, I didn't feel like I had a lot of control over consistency. With all of my symptoms and all of the things that come with chronic illness, you just have not so much control over consistency in your life. And so I spent an entire year dedicated to focusing on what I can control, how I can control it, and becoming consistent in that. And it taught me a lot of things. And one of the things that it taught me was that these things that we want, the results that we want to have in life, are not going to just happen to us one day. And I know we know that, but on an experiential level, understanding what goes into accomplishing something is important, because we can go into it knowing, with the motivation of, I want what's on the other side, right? I want what's on the other side of a good morning routine. I want the freedom, and I want the life, and I want to wake up refreshed, and I want to show up to my day with everything that I've got, right? We want that, yes. But in order to get that, do we also realize that in choosing that result, we're also choosing the hard? We're also choosing to make boundaries with our time the evening before. We're also making sure that we have the things in place so that we can thrive in the morning. And it doesn't all happen at once. I mean, it can. You can kind of cold turkey and be like, I'm changing up my entire routine. You can absolutely do that. You have the control over your life to do that. But it doesn't always happen that way. So you might have to have certain things in place first. You might have to have a routine that you really look forward to first, and then you can work on the evening routine. Or maybe you need a breakfast or some sort of morning rhythm that you are psyched about, and that helps you get out of bed, right? These things all work together. And so what I really want to talk about today is kind of 5 simple, easy steps to have a glorious morning. And it really can be that simple, but also know that it is the repetition, it is the consistency, and it is the doing it when it feels hard. One of the best things you can do for yourself, and I've learned this the hard way, the good way, the easy way, all of the ways, one of the best things you can do for yourself is keep promises to yourself. For some reason, we are the first ones to break the promises to ourselves, especially when there are other people involved and we are overextended. We're going to put ourselves on the back burner 10 out of 10 times. And that works for a time, but it is not sustainable. And so when we constantly tell ourselves we're going to do something, we're going to get up in the morning, we're not going to hit snooze, and we do it time and time again, what we're doing is we're creating this pathway in our brain that tells us we can't trust ourselves. We can't keep promises to ourselves in the smallest thing. How can we, show up for ourselves in the big things? So it's really important that, maybe it is a snooze. Maybe it is a little thing that in the grand scheme of things doesn't look that big. But what's at stake is keeping those promises to yourself. And that has a huge impact on your whole life. So what I want to discuss are these 5 simple steps that, again, seem simple, and they are simple, but you have to have the backbone. You have to have the consistency. You have to have that commitment to yourself to do these things in order to see the result at the end. Now, like I said, I used to be a morning person. I want to be a morning person so badly, but my life circumstances have kind of taught me otherwise. And I'm done letting them speak power over me in all the ways. And so I'm taking this part of my life back, and I haven't been on this morning kick journey for a long time. I'm going to say that, but it has been so good so far. I've seen so many good things happening. And I can really truly say that the difference between me trying in the past and me trying right now is having these other things in place, having had worked on consistency, having had worked on keeping these promises to myself. That is crucial. So if you find yourself stopping and starting and stopping again and again and again, that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's not saying that you're failing. It's saying that there are other ways that you can build up these muscles, these skills that will take for this to actually work, to take hold in your life and to do it properly. And so if you find yourself starting and stopping, or maybe you've done it in the past, you started, stopped, different routines, and you never could find something that really, really sticks, I encourage you to work on this deeper level of keeping promises to yourself, as simple as it sounds. When you build that pathway of trust with yourself. Oh, I kept this little promise to myself. Amazing. I kept this next promise to myself. Amazing. It's coins in the bank. And when that bank account gets bigger, you're able to trust yourself in creating a new routine. So think about it like this. If you can't even trust yourself in a routine that you've had, how can you trust yourself in a routine that you don't have yet, right? And so it's a big jump for your brain. So if you find yourself starting and stopping, time and time again, work on these little things, and I guarantee that they will change your life. Okay, so without further ado, let's jump into the 5 steps to a glorious morning. Okay, number 1, it starts the night before. And I know you've heard it, okay? But this has been lately the key that has unlocked it for me, has been it starts the night before. Now, this looks like a lot of things, okay? This looks like getting to bed on time. This looks like having an amazing night routine where you feel excited to do it. Because listen, if you do not feel excited for your evening routine, let me tell you what's going to happen. You're going to plop yourself in front of your TV, or you're going to be hanging out with your friends, or you're going to be hanging out with whoever, and you are going to put it off as long as possible. You're going to put it off. And so when you have an evening routine that delights you, that pampers you a little bit, that makes you so excited and giddy to run upstairs and put your PJs on and get started, that is gold. It's gold, okay? So an evening routine that you love, gold, okay? Go on Pinterest, look up evening routine, look at all the things that people do, and pick what kind of sparks something for you. For example, for me, I love a matching PJ set, okay? So I love jumping upstairs, getting that on, doing my, hygiene stuff, brushing my teeth, washing my face, etc., getting into bed and reading a book. That to me has been working really, really, really well. I love reading. I love learning. And so that works really well for me. It also helps me shut my brain down. And I noticed, in the past, some of the things that have kind of hindered me from going to bed earlier has been, I'm just not tired enough. And then I lay there wide awake. We've all had that experience. And it's frustrating because you're like, I did the thing and I'm going to bed early, and this is how I'm repaying myself. Like, I can't sleep. I'm going to be exhausted in the morning because now I'm frustrated, and that's making it worse. And it's a whole cycle. Yeah. So what I have found was that it's not enough to just say like, oh, no screens before bed. I know I'm not going to talk about that because everyone and their mother talks about that, but it's not enough to simply say that. But it's like, how do I actually wind down my brain? Does it look like journaling? Does it look like listening to an audiobook? Does it look like reading a physical book? Does it look like doing a brain puzzle, like doing a crossword in bed? Like, that is not a bad idea, because you're getting your brain working in a way that it hasn't probably worked for the majority of the day. And so it's exercising different muscles, which allows the other muscles to kind of soften and rest. And that's what we need. We need to be able to rest. Okay, so another thing about the evening routine that I have found. So one of the things in the morning that's really helpful is having less decisions to make. Yeah. So having less decisions. And one of the things for me is when I'm tired or I wake up with a bad symptom and I don't really feel like the shiny person that I want to be in the morning, is I find it really hard to pick out an outfit that I feel good in. And feel good in the sense of, well, if I don't feel well and I have these symptoms, I want to be comfortable. But I know that by an hour or two, as my day gets going, and if I dress really, really comfortable, I'm going to kind of be in that slump of like, ugh, and yet I don't, in that moment of not feeling well and being up in the morning and just angry at the world, as sometimes we are in the morning, it is just like I'm not going to go and make the decision to put on my best suit, right? And so it's like, okay, where does this balance come in? And a lot of times, I think for me at least, it will come in of pre-planning the night before. You know how maybe your parents did that when you were a kid going to school and they'd set out your clothes the night before. It's kind of that same idea, except for you, it's allowing you to make one less decision in the morning, which is really helpful. And we'll get into why that's really helpful in a minute. Okay, so starting the night before, making sure you're going to bed early enough, having something to really wind down in a way that helps you turn your brain off and wind down, like I said, is really important. And starting your morning off right by making those choices that you can make the night before to make your morning smoother is going to be key. Okay, so number 2 in the glorious morning routine is to get up right away. What I mean by this is don't hit snooze. I know it's so tempting, but this is the first choice that you make in your entire day. Okay. And remember when I was talking about keeping promises to yourself, this is the first promise to yourself that you have a choice of right when you wake up. Because either setting that alarm the night before is you saying, I promise to get up at this time. And so when you go and you hit snooze, you're breaking that very first promise to yourself and setting your day up with that neural pathway opening of you saying, I don't trust myself enough to keep this promise to myself. Sounds harsh, I know, but it's true. That's legitimately what's happening. And so to combat that, don't hit snooze. Okay. And then I got into a habit of I don't hit snooze anymore, but sometimes I will still lay there and like maybe I'll fall back asleep. That's also really dangerous. Just because you might then sleep through your responsibilities and that's just not helpful. And so the best thing, and I know it's hard because it's the first thing you're doing in the morning and you're tired and you're still kind of half asleep, but try your best to not snooze and to get up right away. I truly believe that this will change your entire morning routine and your entire trajectory of your day and of your life because you're keeping those promises to yourself. Now, number 3, kind of like with the night routine of having it's something that you look forward to, is having a morning routine that you actually enjoy, something that you look forward to. For me, that looks like a really amazing hot shower in the morning. Like I will get out of bed for a hot shower. Absolutely. 10 out of 10 times, right? Because it's a great reset. I have really great thoughts. It's just something that is great. Maybe for you, it's your cup of coffee. Maybe for you, it's your breakfast. Maybe for you, it's the cute outfit that you put out the night before, right? Whatever it is for you, have something in your morning routine that just is delightful, that makes you want to get out of bed. Because again, in the morning when you're tired and you are not all with it, it's going to be hard to keep those promises to yourself. And there isn't going to be any motivation from you internally in that moment. So you have to have an outward something that you've already committed to that is delightful that you can jump into. That is really helpful. And this includes taking out as many choices as possible. Like I said, putting your clothes out the night before is a great way to take that choice out of the bucket of your day. Whether it be, what you're eating for breakfast or what your tasks to do that morning before your first responsibility, where you either have to be out of the house or at your desk at a certain time. Having those things pre-planned can really help your brain just kind of take in the morning slowly instead of being like, now I have to make 50 decisions before I even put my feet on the floor. Does that make sense? So that's really important. Okay, number 4 on this 5 steps to a glorious morning is to rush as little as possible. I know, of course, we all want to have a leisurely morning routine, but here's why it's really important. I know we can all, we all have that time in our heads that it's like the last possible moment we can stay in bed until to get to where we need to go on time. I know it, okay? I've experienced it. I've learned it. And it's really dangerous to learn that, by the way, because then you're like, oh, actually, I have until this time. Here's why that's detrimental in the long run. Because by rushing in the morning, yes, you can do it. Yes, it's possible. And yes, we rely on it far too long. But if that is the way that we start off our day, we go rushing into it, it's kind of a manic energy. It's putting our bodies into a stressed state, and we don't want to be in a stressed state our whole day. So why are we starting off the most, important kind of trajectory of our day time by being rushed and being stressed, right? So that's an important thing to keep in mind is, yes, it's possible to rush, and a lot of us do it, but to get into the habit of it is not the most healthy in the long run, because by having a routine where you can take your time and let your brain wake up with the day, and kind of like the rising sun isn't dark 1 minute and risen 30 seconds later and bright, and it's at the apex of the sun in 30 seconds. It takes time. There is light before we even see the sun peeking through. There is time when the sun is still on the horizon until it has broken that. And then there's still time until it is, at a place where it's in our eyes and our commute in the morning, right? So it is really important that we take the time that's necessary for our brains to wake up, for our minds to wake up, for our bodies to wake up, so that we can tackle the day with everything that comes our way. If we are starting the day in a stress state of rushing, of course, we have to expect there to be stress in the day. Yes, and there might be stress in your day anyway. Of course, there will be stress in everyone's day, but it is important to like I said earlier, know what's in your control and then to control what's in your control, right? So the morning is in your control, whether you like it or not. Not the mornings that you have a surprise wake up call at 3 a.m., sure. But traditionally, in most days of your life, the morning is in your control. And so how can you set that up in a way that makes you not have to rush? And then keep those promises to yourself so that you're not rushing. It's going to change your life, truly. Okay, and the last tip for the 5 steps to a glorious morning, the last step is get ready every day. And I know this sounds odd, especially in a post-COVID world, okay? But truly getting ready every single day, whether you are going to be bumming it on your couch all day or out on the town, whatever your day holds, by getting ready every day, whatever that looks like for you, it's going to look different for every person, okay? It's going to look different for every person. So whatever that looks like for you, getting ready every day is signaling to your brain, to yourself, that I'm ready for whatever comes my way today. I read this book by this woman, Emily Lay, and she's really big. You might have heard of her. She makes planners, and she talks about in one of her books how her dad always taught her to put her shoes on in the morning when she got dressed, and that's been a kind of habit of hers. And the reason behind her putting her shoes on with her outfit and wearing shoes all day is that if anything, any opportunity were to come her way, she'd be ready. She wouldn't have to stop and make the decision and pick out the pair of shoes. She would just be ready. And so the same thing goes with your day of getting ready, putting on an outfit that you feel confident in, whether that's doing your hair, putting on earrings or putting on jewelry or doing a little bit of makeup, whatever that looks like. Even in the days that you're not expecting to see anyone, it changes how you show up for yourself, first of all. And second of all, it allows you to be ready for an opportunity should it come your way. there is nothing worse than sitting on your couch and being all lonely and being like, I really want to hang out with someone, and then they call you and they're like, I'm 5 minutes away, and then you like are like, I really, really want that, but I'm not going to be ready in 5 minutes, right? And so it's like, okay, what is that balance between what your day holds, understanding what activities are going to be a part of your day, and then also preparing for the day by getting yourself ready. And let me tell you, the 5-10 minutes that it takes me to get myself ready for the day is some of the most precious moments of my day, not because of the end result typically, but it's really because that time is the time that I sit in front of my mirror and my vanity and I check in with myself. How am I feeling today? Because at that point, if I've done everything correctly, if I've done everything the way that I've tried to set it up, I have gotten up. That was a decision that I made the day before. And I kept that promise to myself. I have on the outfit that I picked out the day before. It already been in my shower, whatever. And I get to this point, and this is the first time I'm really sitting with myself, and I'm like, oh, how am I? Like, what are my symptoms feeling like today? What is my energy like today? Did I sleep well? How are we going to tackle this day? Where's my inspiration level at? And that's the moment where I get to really check in with myself and to do that. And so that part of my routine is like so important, not only for the end result of, yes, I'm ready for the day, for whatever comes my way, but I'm also checking in with myself. And that's a really important thing. It goes along with, this is why you don't want to rush your morning, is so that you can have that time to check in with yourself. Because I have had the experience where you jump into whatever you have to do and you are crabby beyond belief, and that comes out at someone and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I didn't even realize how unhappy I was today to begin with, and then I took it out on you. Like, that is not appropriate, and that I'm so sorry, right? We don't want that to happen every day, do we? So we want to put these things in place so that we can have the most glorious morning. And the fact of the matter is, right, as much as we want to do these things and as much as we put these guardrails in place for us to have this amazing morning routine, we're human, and we will have days where we're on, and we'll have days where we're a little bit off, and we'll have days where we're really, really off. And so when, one of the lessons that I learned in my year of consistency was that consistency doesn't always look like 100% every day. And so if there are days where it's not, maybe you do snooze, or, oh, you forgot to put your outfit on the night before, whatever you choose to do, that doesn't mean we're throwing it out, okay? Listen when I say that does not mean we are throwing it out. It means we're going to get up and try again tomorrow. That is what consistency looks like. Consistency is not in the final result, that if that's good, then you were consistent. It's in the trying and the showing up and keeping promises to yourself. That's where consistency lies. And so if we're focused on that and not the end result, if we get the end result, it's kind of like the payoff. It's kind of like, we're doing this thing to be consistent, and we will have this result when it works. But we're going to try to be consistent no matter if that result happens or not. And that is the mindset that will really, really help you. I hope this was helpful, and I hope that this inspires you to really look at your own life and your own routine and your own way that having a glorious morning routine will help you set your life up for success and help you show up to your life like the leading lady that you are. Show up to your life like the person who is responsible for all the things, and to be able to tackle all of that with grace and with goodness and with all of the energy that you can muster. I hope that this encourages you to start going on that journey, and most of all to become consistent in it, because that is going to be the turning point. And keeping promises to yourself I hope that that helps. And if you have tips for your own morning routines or part of it that is really special to you, that delights you, I would love to learn about them, because I want to always be aware of what other people are doing so that I can maybe adopt some of these things. So if you have something like that, I would love to hear it. But if you are just coming here for tips, take what I have to give you, and I hope that it really helps. I tried not to have this be really like a routine where it's like you do this at 5:05 and then you do this, right? Because that to me feels very restrictive. Remember, like with all of my own circumstances, that feels restrictive because it's not my life isn't the same as the person next to me. But these 5 steps are the thing that will help in whatever routine that you want to put in there, if that makes sense. So that's why it's really important to do that. And I am cheering for you, and I'll see you in the next one.